guys, Axel Stanley here, and yep, this is a behind the scenes video, and yep, I definitely have you guys at a different angle, so it is what it is. Also, I'm definitely doing my best to keep things down because folks are sleeping, and if you guys do hear a little background noise, it is currently storming out, so bear with me. So, yeah. Hard to believe that last Saturday I finished my, what if? That basically took about 2 years to do. But I do find it hilarious that as of this video, the second part got the most views, and yet the first part got nothing. Like, I'm not even kidding. If I wasn't in such dismay or whatever, or I won't say dismay, I mean like, I don't know, I'm just a little tired because I just got done working, and yeah. But this video will basically put you in the mindset of, or at least sort of a mindset that I had going on to this what if that basically took 2 years to do. So, with that being said, let's go to the beginning. So what at the beginning of this, like, this was a couple of years ago, I wanted to do something that like basically take a what if that's probably been spoken to death about, and I kind of wanted to experiment with it and see how it will run. Like, with everything that we have current to the Dragon Ball universe itself, I kind of wanted to experiment with it and basically, rip it with some of the typical norms that, like, for example, Dragon Ball SI, which is basically a fan-made manga about Vegeta going to Earth instead of Goku, which, inspired this whole what if in a sense. I would definitely argue that this what if takes that concept and ramps it up a few notches. And as someone who is, like, I don't want to say I'm not a huge fan of the original Dragon Ball portion of the Dragon Ball franchise. It's just that, in my opinion, that part of the franchise I felt was a little slow, and yeah. But when things got to the C side of things, I definitely went all out on it. Like, yes, some may not have been able to tell, but I really went out with the hammer. Or at least the earlier Dragon Ball portions of the what if, and basically like like, for example, like during the Dragon Ball Portia saga, when the first wish was going to be commenced, I kind of twisted it to a T2 where like I basically twisted it in a way that kind of, well, I imagine those first viewing might have been caught off guard. And as the series progressed, I definitely kept the cast of characters rather small, which, by the way, I will definitely admit that was kind of like the main idea that I wanted to do for this what if, like, keep the cast of characters small, because I mostly wanted this to be about Vegeta and his journey and what he would have done in place of his son Goku. So, yeah, I mean, Saiyan Saga definitely took a lot of interesting twists, or at least I twisted it pretty nicely and actually added a little bit of a revenge plot that I didn't think I would do, but there we are. But all the way up to the Frieza Saga, I knew that I was gonna have to make the first time of Vegeta going Super Saiyan very, very special. Like, obviously, yeah, there was no Krillin at the time. Like, if you've seen the whole story, you'll definitely get that. Pretty much the majority of Vegeta's friends are dead, and at that point during the What If, it was just basically Vegeta, his son Trunks, and Bulma. Like, obviously going to Namek to resurrect Piccolo, that sort of thing. And, oh boy. Like, did I think yet that I would write a death scene that's so dramatic? No, I didn't think so. Or at least I like to think it was dramatic. Like, yeah. And funny thing is that this was actually inspired by a What If that Moscow X did, which basically was what if Goku married Bulma, and I kind of took get a piece of that and put that into here, and I mean, I don't want to say I'm like full blown copying this, but it's what it is. So so in relative fashion, the Super Saiyan Vegeta transformation, I definitely did my best to emphasize how beautiful the transformation would get. So, I mean, that was basically my main, or at least my main intention of this What If, to basically heavily emphasize how much this journey was going to mean to Vegeta, what it was going to be for Vegeta. It just, so like, obviously a lot of turns definitely took a turn, and I imagine the final product definitely kind of speaks. Admittedly, there was definitely some twists and turns into the What If that I kind of had second thoughts about, but basically when it did anyway. But obviously, but there was one YouTube named Kako wrote, which basically is Japanese for prince. Which, by the way, if you are watching this, I salute you, Prince. Or at least I should definitely call you the head prince of this channel. In that regard, though, yeah, it's. I mean, I expected criticism to come, and I mean, it is what it is. In some ways, that you might have been able to tell that I wanted to go one way, but then decided to go another. Like, I imagine every one who does these What Ifs has an idea they want to do, but feels like it would be more interesting going another way. And I mean, I suppose that's one way to keep What If original, I suppose. But arguably, when it came down to the Majin Buu saga, the criticism finally did come, and Kakarot finally gave me the criticism that I felt like I finally needed to hear. And as dumb as this is going to sound, I wanted to make a video personally saying thank you for giving me the criticism. Like, I needed to hear something. And I mean, it was I mean, I did the best I could to answer it as best I could, and hey, I think it worked out in the end. And the whole Majin Trunks thing, that, like, will definitely admit it is an element that I sort of take from Moscow X as well. Like, especially if you look at the last few parts of my What If Broly came in early, What If, and this one in particular, you'll notice that I have basically had ideas that kind of resonated within Moscow X's realm, and I kind of did my best to kind of turn things into my own version, so to speak. Yep. But, it definitely got good, or at least I hope it did. I'd argue my favorite or at least coming into Dragon Ball Super, it became one of my favorite eras to write. Mostly because I actually got to bring in some interesting, or at least I got to do something interesting, which was basically like basically turn the scenario of the Super Saiyan God transformation, like, um, and it does kind of relate to what happened during the Z saga, which was basically like Trunks, basically making sure that himself, his sister, his dad, and mom were no longer able to reproduce. And don't wish on the Dragon Balls, I will admit, but when you're basically with a dad who basically will basically sing praises about a particular race that you're related to, I imagine that would come back to bite. And basically, when it came to that, it definitely did. And even if by chance some Trunks' spouse, Fidel, which was another interesting twist I definitely thought was interesting to the Dragon Ball formula. Uh, like, it probably would not be enough Saiyan spouses or Saiyan hybrid dipping to create the Super Saiyan God transformation ritual to fully commence. So, what I did then was basically take an aspect and basically just like for 24 hours, King Vegeta, Vegeta's mom, and his brother Tarble came back from the dead for a good 24 hours. And in those 24 hours, I will definitely admit I kind of want to do more, but time being time. But I think the ending of the video solidified how much King Vegeta meant to his son. That was the start. And off of that, I would definitely argue that Vegeta, it definitely sort of became a staple that Vegeta would go from this bloodthirsty individual to someone who cares. Like, he may not show it often, but you can definitely tell that deep down he cares about his wife, he cares about his son, he cares about his daughter. And as things progress, but it just got better, I imagine. And I will definitely admit that it is around the Dragon Ball Super portion of this what if that I introduced a silly little subplot that may have some conflicting issues, but it's a nice twist to it, and I will admit the whole small side plot, which is basically the romantic pairing of Bola, Vegeta's the daughter, and Beerus, the god of destruction, basically becoming a thing in this what if. Like, obviously, not everyone's gonna see it as this great magnum opus of a ship or whatever, because of basically how old Bola is and the Dragon Super, and I believe I should emphasize this here and now, is that Bola had upon their first meeting was 18. Now, you kind of need to take into consideration of how many years they've been in the hyperbolic time chamber, and by the time they stop using the hyperbolic time chamber in this what if, she is and even with that 1 year or later addition to that what if, she ends up being 22, But so, as dumb as it sounds, that's just one small side plot to the rest of everything else that's kind of big and whatnot. Um, the Resurrection F portion of this What If, it definitely was an interesting take. Like, um, obviously, I took the original concept of it and basically placed it over here, and it got some interesting results. And there was a little bit of a nod towards that side a lot, but at the end of the day, it just shows Vegeta how much he has grown and how much he is willing to protect those who are close to him, how much, no matter what. And the things definitely do take a lot of interesting steps when we go further and further. And I imagine that there is a portion of my small fan base, like I really do mean small fan base, because I'm definitely not big. I mean, as of this video, I'm definitely not big. You are probably a little upset that I did not do a Vegeta Black part of this What If, because the concept itself would have been cool, but given how much Vegeta has grown and how much he's adapted and has learned from, or at least has been trying to learn from past mistakes and not do certain things, like, I basically see Vegeta not being a causer of big problems. And it kind of does show in the last part of the What If, which basically has Vegeta and Co. Basically just, well, not giving the other universes a reason to smack at them. And yeah, I will definitely, or at least I will say with confidence, that what I wanted to do was, or at least I believe it would be interesting to say the least, like, the fact that I managed to gather for the entirety of, or at least, like, obviously this, when we get to the Tournament of Power, it kind of nails down to like 3 different fights. And the first fight would be Vegeta and his son, daughter, Piccolo, and Fidel, dealing with the entirety of Universe 6, which, it does end with the defeat of the entirety of Universe 6, but at the cost of Vegeta being alone, because, man, they're outnumbered. And that's actually another thing I kind of thought was interesting as well, is that despite, or at least I thought would be an interesting idea, is that despite how small your team is, you probably could persevere, where, like, from the starting gate to the end gate, so to speak. Yeah. And I will admit, this is basically me twisting around rules and whatnot, but for the sake of the interest and story, I kind of thought it would be kind of cool either or. And when it came to the second fight with Vegeta going all out against the whole entirety of the Pride Troopers, Universe 11, and basically Vegeta going Jack up to maximum against the entirety of Universe 11, and ending or at least trying to end his fight with Toppo, kind of ending things with Vegeta a bit tuckered out and whatnot. Like, he's still got all his energy left, and he's still willing to go, which I believe that's kind of how I imagine Vegeta would still be determined. Like, he is determined. He is still brave enough to go against anybody. Yeah. but in all things considered, before this, Vegeta did have doubts, like when he was training for the Tournament of Power, but like the thoughts of, but finally encountering someone that was stronger than him, and obviously the day for which he meets this individual, and that despite how much he trains, he definitely knows he can't to win, and the thought of being killed by this individual, but it eventually does start to click in this last part. I imagine, for those who pay attention to detail, but in how I say these things, and yeah, uh, and then coming down to the third fight, which leads to Vegeta versus Jiren. And because of how it took Vegeta get, he just, like, obviously I made it sound like it was pretty one-sided, but at the end of the day, yeah, I kind of decided that that is how it would go, because in the original part of the series, but but it took some other members of Universe 7 to handle Jiren. And it, like, yeah, this is like Vegeta by himself handling Jiren. And that the amount of detail that I go into describing the amount of pain and agony that Vegeta went through, like, I really wanted to add how much it hurted. And to top it off with likes of me adding in Breaking Benjamin's defeated to the mix, like, yeah, if you can believe it, when I was writing that what if, or at least that part of the what if, that song was playing over and over and over, to the point where I legitimately imagined that was the battle theme for that whole fight, all the way to the end, to say the least. Which is why I said it in the originality of the video, but because, well, it was supposed to put you in my mindset when I wrote it. But I mean, even to the T where I basically have Vegeta's loved ones basically begging for Vegeta to please get up and all that sort of thing. Like I will admit that in, like, I mean, I'll just be all honest with you right now. It is really tough to describe scenes like this because I'm definitely not the most experienced writer, and basically writing scenes like that actually build up a lot of moments for me. Like, yeah, this is someone that I grew attached to, and the fact that I'm kind of weeping over this, like, wow. What if I can make? Okay, obviously making myself weep doesn't mean I'm a good story writer, but hence the idea of it. And the idea of giving Vegeta Ultra Instinct before he basically gets tossed out of the arena. I will definitely admit that is something that again, many people would agree, is kind of a ridiculous idea, but given the time that I wrote this what if, and the basically, like, this was before I heard the news that Vegeta was gonna get this new transformation in the manga. Even though, despite I'm an anime only kind of guy, when I heard of Vegeta's new transformation by Asuko X, I'm like, well, crap. But I still went ahead and did it anyways because, well, what was going to be Vegeta's saving grace? How I also ended the story, I kind of wanted to reimagine Vegeta going back to where it all started, Bulma being there as well, and just basically have the nostalgia filling in for both Vegeta and Bulma as they basically remember what the good times that they've had before the sunset hits and the book officially closes. That sort of thing. Overall, I would say, like, yeah, at least to those who are watching this video now, and if you're new to my channel and basically basically right now, I will outright to say right now, you just got spoiled. Probably should have said that at the beginning, but you know, and I probably I would still recommend you go and watch the entire playlist that I will have in my channel as I speak. So, I'll definitely admit the beginnings are a little rough, but what if? I mean, considering that this is also my first what if as well, I'm actually surprised that after what I imagine 2 years of working on it, we finally come and meet its end. And obviously there was going to be people asking, well, why don't you continue from where the manga's going? Well, as I said, I'm an anime only kind of guy, and until Dragon Ball Super starts releasing more anime episodes and whatnot, I'm basically just gonna leave it at that because obviously I'm gonna be pretty stubborn about this, but I do feel that this is the best way I can, and this. With the absolute satisfaction inside of my mind, so to speak. So, yeah. To those who were around this since the beginning, I definitely thank you guys. And of course, to you, Kako, or thank you. I hope I said it right throughout this whole video. What you, sir, are a prince, and no get to say otherwise, or at least no one can tell you otherwise now. So yeah, with that being said and done, I definitely hope you definitely enjoy the little bit of behind the scenes on my mindset. If you actually do have questions for my what if, feel free to bring the questions down in the comment section, and I will definitely do my best to answer them. And of course, yeah. On top of that, if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe I could persuade you to do so, as well as hit that notification bell to stay updated. Also, like the video if you did. Share the content with your friends, and of course, I will definitely see you guys next time, or at least in the next video, which will come soon. I imagine, anyways. So yeah, see you around next time, guys. See ya.